Um, I don't know. I think that we have given this topic a lot of our energy, a lot of our days, a lot of our nights, a lot of our tears, a lot of our worries. Um, and I've just come to the conclusion that everybody does not want equality and civility in this country.
Yeah.
Um, just from the onset of where all of this stuff comes from, and you talk about, all the cops, the bad boys of America, with the KKK included in that spelling. I think that's perfect because, as we all know, and you've already stated, I mean, policing started, with slave catching. So the underlying driving force under policing has to be connected to that hate where it started, to me. And the reason I say that is because since the beginning, since the onset of policing, we have always been the driving force behind keeping that alive. Slavery, getting into the prison system is just another form of slavery. And it never really went away. And it seems like they found a way to continue to flood the pipeline of slavery, flood the pipeline of generational wealth that came from the system and the business of catching slaves. And so, this thing is just, it has so many levels.
Right.
There's so many stitch lines in this, man. This thing will be hard to pull apart because it's just interwoven into so many facets of our community, so many facets of government, so many facets of society and culture. And so, but again, it seems like every couple of years, we constantly get these reminders of just how low or just how far down we are on the totem pole. With things that have happened, just in 2021.
Yeah.
It's like we're constantly living this reel of this commercial of torment and terror and fear and what is it? The all not even it's fear, but it's almost to a level of being frightened, like prior to even being attacked or
Right.
or whatever. It's like you
That's
walk
dark.
around with this high level of anxiety
Right.
that this could actually happen to you. And I don't know, I'm sick of hearing about it. I really am. But at the same time, it's a struggle and a fight that cannot die. Now I understand why, through the 60s, 50s, and the 60s, why they were talking about the struggle can't die. We can't stop here. We must go on, because they seen it even on a greater level than we have.
Well, they understood that there's a system also.
Exactly. Yeah.
They well close to the system.
Right. And of course, right, again, back then, we were we were more concerned about government and society and things like that. So you're right. We did have an acumen of understanding how society and government work.
I can tell you, just me being in the military, I've been in places where, being deployed, being in the Middle East, I've been in places where I almost lost my life, but I had to be in a defensive posture, so I won't hurt anyone else. I was in one of the worst places in the nation, right, in the world. We were getting bombed, we were getting attacked, but I couldn't wear a loaded firearm. So my firearm always had to be unloaded, just for the simple fact that I don't want cause a friendly fire incident. And it also gives me time to think and assess the situation before I have to load. And use that force.
Let me ask you a question, Brother Nick. So you're telling me that even in the military, they have already ingrained in you, number one, rules of engagement. Number two, they've set you and trained you on precautionary measures to even protect you from yourself if something goes. Is that
right.
What you're telling me?
Right. Now outside the wire, when you're dealing in enemy territory, that's a different story. But I'm talking about everyday, everyday interaction with people that we call third country nationals that we work with, and things of that nature. Now, granted, there has been some cases where we have faced some casualties because of that. but the numbers far outweigh what we have going on in our society today. You know what I mean? In terms of police brutality, interactions with people that don't look like them, and having police that are patrolling areas and neighborhoods that they don't live in.
That is interesting because inside the wire, as you describe it, because you're not actively in a war zone. If I just kind of use those terms, sounds a whole lot like America. That you're not actively in a war zone, but you are trained in a way to where you don't incite an accident or accidental shooting. You have to assess the situation first. And that's unlike what we see actively with policing here inside the wire of America.
That's exactly what I was going to. I was like, just like the guy the other day, the young lady who got shot for having the knife in her hand about to stab the other girl, and we'll get into that. But the very fact that you have at least 5 to 10 videos across the country where a white assailant male was actually attacking and trying to harm the officers, and every last one of them are still alive. One of the cops got stabbed.
Yes.
Another cop I saw, he got sliced. The other cop I saw, they pulled him out the vehicle. He beat up both of those cops, jumped into the patrol truck and pulled off, and he's still alive. So there is a huge difference, and I'm getting to the point now that people who have these disagreeable arguments, I don't even respond, because anybody that can watch this stuff and still question it and still say, why don't you do this, is somebody who has never been inside of a poor neighborhood, never been pulled over for no reason at all, asked where you coming from, where you live, whose car is it, how long you had these rims on your car, where you work. Like, I've been asked some of the most ridiculous questions that have nothing to do with a traffic stop. So we know for a fact that they're using their own level of discretion to figure out how much offense, how strong that offense is going to be, depending upon who it is and where they are.
And I will even bookend that with the continuation of just to give a shout to Melanie there. She did say, to be fair, totally fair, that not all cops go in on the offensive. And
see, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have that. Right. I don't even want to have that conversation about the not at all. Right. Not all, because we know not all. That is our that we know that every black person has had a good experience with a cop.
Right.
So we're not saying all of this. This is like saying all women or all men or all children. We're not even going to address. So
let's not play that. Let's not play that game.
Yeah, we're talking about we're highlighting the negativity that affects my 17-year-old son in driving or at work or walking down the street. I don't even let my son jog in my own neighborhood, and I live in a predominantly white neighborhood. I do not let my son jog in my own neighborhood.
That's a problem.
That's a problem in 2021. A 17-year-old kid we don't know what can happen. We've seen cops being recorded drunk on several occasions. We've seen cops fist bump and high five. We've seen a 70-something-year-old retired librarian black lady just get maimed and handled on the side of the street like she was a young man. So of course all cops aren't bad. We're not going to say that.
Hey,
because that's almost like an all lives matter response.
Right, exactly. Well, let's see. Hopefully they get some sort of punishment, not just a slap on the wrist, because I can't stand to sit there and watch 3 other officers, which are perhaps the quote unquote good cops, that, they weren't kneeling on somebody's neck, but they don't say anything. When am I going to see a video of someone, for instance, taking apprehension against a black body, and then even the policemen that are there on the scene shove that guy off of him? It should have been the same way when Antonio, and forgive me, I can't remember his last name, here in Valdosta, got body slammed. All those officers should have approached him and told him to back off.
But that goes back to what Suzette said. A lot of those cops that are good cops are outranked and outnumbered. And so that could be another, but that goes back to what you were saying about standing up and being a man,
Right.
standing on your square and being a man.
So there's two sides to the story that we want to sit here and listen to. But if we listen to the other side, then again, it goes back to the history, as you said, but it goes back to the other perspective that I outlined in the beginning, was that the narrative is already designed in this system of Amerikkka to actually describe the black man as a savage.
Which is why
you a threat.
Which is why you
when you have somebody like Emmett Till whistling at a white woman, again, that is a threat against that white woman's body. And a mob is there to lynch him, beat him, mangle him, etc. So I don't have mercy for the other side of the story when it comes to black bodies.
Right.
Police shootings are happening at twice the rate per million, twice the rate of white Americans.
And
this is from Washington
a fraction
Post.
of their population.
Right. Which is, exactly. It's a fraction of the population of the European American that they are killed. We are only 13% of the U.S. population, but being killed by the police at more than twice the rate of European Americans. Straight out of Washington Post.
Yeah.
Facts. We're dealing with facts. We're not dealing with sides of the story.
Right.
Because there are always two sides of the story. But when you got a liar telling his story, that's what goes down in history.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? It's like you have all of these loopholes and all of this red tape when it comes to trying to convict or prove that somebody of the other race was wrong. But for the Breonna Taylor case, this child was asleep, and you bringing up her connection with a drug dealer that was an ex-boyfriend.
Here's another comment to make. Why, or question to ask that I just thought of. Why is it that when European Americans engage with the cops after carrying a gun that was loaded, that killed several protesters, or that just stabbed somebody, or just drove off in a vehicle, a police car, why do they always seem to engage with the good cops? Why is it that when we engage, for the times that we are counting here, I'm not saying, because I've been pulled over too, and I'm not saying that I had bad cops every time I pull over, but what we're talking about are the statistics. So why is it that at a rate 2 times more than white America do we get the bad cops somehow?
Caller coming in. We're gonna see what our caller has to say as we continue to move forward.
This is Aaron Carter.
Hey, Aaron, I know you've been trying to get in, right? So you tired of typing?
Yeah, man. Y'all wearing down my nail polish. I ain't got time for all that typing stuff. I just want to give my opinion, not just on the situation of the knife victim. Pretty much, I feel the way about all of them. Why we gotta die? Yeah, she had a knife. Yeah, sometimes we, not all of us, but sometimes it may be, I've even heard the arguments about, oh, they were resisting. Well, how much does it take for you to keep me from resisting? Like, can you just shoot me in the leg? Can you just shoot me in the arm? Why I gotta die? That's my whole thing. Why do we have to die? And you're trained, you're armed. Come on, you got the upper hand. Why we gotta die? I just don't, it's a touchy subject for me because much like most parents, when my kids go off, I worry about them. I shouldn't have to worry about my 18-year-old son who just want to go to school, want to play football, want to hang out with his Caucasian friends or his mixed friends and be okay and not be judged and not looked at a certain way, or they get pulled over and automatically we smell marijuana in the car. It must be you. Like, come on, it's just too much. It's just too much. And I will say, just from experience, because I'm prior military as well, so I agree with the young man's comment earlier who was active duty. We're trained to be defensive, but at what point do you just think, okay, I'm a human, they're a human, why we gotta die? That's it. I just don't get it. Why we gotta die?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, and I'm gonna give you the answer to it, and that's because our lives, Black lives, are not valued in this country.
That's true. That's true. There's no other. That's no other way to put it.
That's just what has been passed down. And Aaron, we thank you for your call, Ms. Carter, and thank you for being a faithful follower of the Black and the Bold podcast. Absolutely. Live. And so we appreciate you calling and your comments, and again, your sentiments are ours. So we thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I try to log on, try to share. Y'all just keep it up, keep educating us. You know, it's a lot of work to be done, but it got to start somewhere. So we appreciate you all. I appreciate you all, and not just from, you know, the local community. I mean, y'all go live. Y'all make it, you know, worldwide. So I just hope for bigger and better. Hope it keep growing. Hope you get more followers. I'll keep sharing, and that's it. Y'all just keep up the good work.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that we learn compassion in every other industry in life except policing? We learn how to not judge a book by its cover when elementary school.
Child. Right.
And so it's like all of a sudden we're expected to let that go out of the window when it comes to hiring police. And then when they make mistakes, just like that cop did about the police chief did with the young lady who supposedly mistaken her taser for her gun, he immediately came to her protection knowing she was wrong. I mean, he came out immediately with a narrative already preset. And if that's the case, then you definitely don't need it, especially in the hood.
So I do agree that the cops are, the bad cops are the part of the Amerikkka KK, but at the same time, I still have to resonate with, we have to micromanage the things. Like we have to get unified in our communities, and in order to fight the bigger giants, I feel. Like for instance here, and really Dwayne, he really touched on what I was going to comment on, the fact of just how the minimalist of how much it takes to become an actual officer. Now, I did look up the requirements for Valdosta, so they did heighten it to the age of 21, but at the same sense, across the board, there is no element of a mental background check. You know what I'm saying? There is not there. Everything is right. Everything is tied to age, or there is no element to kind of do a mental analysis to see, is this person mentally capable to be on the force?
But I know one thing we're gonna have to do is, first of all, we're gonna have to stop being afraid of our culture.
Absolutely.
I think religion has allowed us to, it's given us an excuse to forget who we were, who we are. I think that we need to begin to embrace our culture and our history. I'm not saying that you need to be walking around town with your face painted and all that other stuff and all that other taboo talk. No, I'm saying be proud of your Blackness. Y'all know who I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? Like, we need to begin to embrace who we are. We have too many of us that are too busy trying to assimilate and move into the upper neighborhoods, move into these groups, move into these organizations, and forgetting about the people who they left behind, who helped create who they are. We're gonna have to, number one, embrace our pride, embrace our history, and stop playing with it, and stop spewing the narrative that everybody else is saying. Oh, they were savages, and no, we weren't. We were mathematicians, we were scientists, we were astrologers. We were the ones that were at the Council of Nicaea, helping you dissect and helping you write your Bible. Let's not play with this. Let's keep it for real. We are not a dumb people. We are not a wild people. What you see is a reflection of what we have been under. If you put a trained dog into a dog pen of a bunch of mad dogs, that trained dog is going to assimilate. He's going to do what he got to do to protect himself, even though he's trained. We are not wild people. We are not ignorant people. We are created people. We are children of the sun. We're going to start embracing who we are first. Second, then we're going to start embracing family and know that we need each other. At the end of the day, I heard a guy talking about today. He's like, y'all calling yourself 5%ers, and y'all are Moors, and y'all are Muslims, and y'all are Sunni Muslim, and you Baptists, and you Pentecostal, and you atheists. But we all black. And at the end of the day, when they pull you over, they're not asking you, are you Sunni Muslim? They're not asking you, are you Baptist or primitive Baptist? They're looking at your color, because your color, or like Public Enemy said, your skin is your sin. It ain't got nothing to do with your religion or your religion or your affiliation. So we're gonna have to first of all embrace who we have been and who we the potential of who we can become. Second of all, we need to start realizing we need each other. And then the third thing we need to realize is that at the end of the day, family is a revolutionary movement by itself.
Yeah.
We need to start bringing our families together. We need more married people. We need more families together. We need more thriving communities that are predominantly Black. We need to change the narrative about who we are. And if you want to change other people's perspective about who you are, you need to change your behavior. Those are 3 simple things we can do. Then after that, then we need to start making sure we're involved in our children's school and education process. Make sure we're involved and get more education about how the law works and how the law can be executed. Because the way they're executing the law is a very slick way of where they're doing it. So we need to learn, be a part of the society we live in, know the rules, so that we can know how to deal with our oppressors.
Right.
That is why that's why Lyndon B. Johnson said, we cannot let Martin Luther King's message continue to galvanize these people, because if they ever figure out their strength in numbers, we're over. We're finished.